The day the aliens came was sunny. Captain John Miller stood on the landing pad, squinting at the sky. His uniform felt too tight around his neck. Next to him, General Hayes fidgeted with his medals. "Steady," John whispered, more to himself than anyone else. The alien ship wasn't large, about the size of a commercial airplane. It hovered silently before touching down with surprising grace. No flames, no noise, just a slight ripple in the air. As the door opened, John took a deep breath. 20 years in the Earth Defense Force hadn't prepared him for this moment. The alien that emerged walked on two legs but looked nothing like a human. It stood nearly 8 feet tall with bluish skin that seemed to shimmer. Its 4 eyes blinked independently of each other. "I am Ambassador Zorthal of the Galactic Council," it said in perfect English. "We come in peace and friendship." John stepped forward. "Captain John Miller of the Earth Defense Force. On behalf of humanity, welcome to Earth." The meeting room inside the base was simple but comfortable. John sat across from Zorthal, while officials and scientists filled the other seats. Dr. Susan Grant, Earth's leading xenobiologist, couldn't take her eyes off the visitor. "The Galactic Council has existed for 50,000 of your years," Zorthal explained. "We govern over 10,000 species across the Milky Way. It is our pleasure to find new intelligent life in this sector." "We're happy to meet you too," John said carefully. "But we've never detected signals from other civilizations before." Zorthal made a sound like quiet bells. John realized it was laughter. "Your technology is still developing. We have methods of communication beyond your current understanding." Susan leaned forward. "Ambassador, what exactly does the Galactic Council want from Earth?" "To offer membership in our Grand Alliance, of course. To bring you into the community of advanced species." The words sounded good, but something in the ambassador's tone made John uneasy. General Hayes asked, "And what would this membership involve?" "The usual processes. Earth would be classified as a Category 3 developing world. We would guide your development, ensure you don't make the mistakes other young species have made." "What kind of guidance?" John asked. Zorthal touched a device on his wrist. A 3D image appeared above the table showing complex legal text. The ambassador scrolled through it quickly. "Standard restrictions. Limits on space exploration beyond your solar system. Controls on certain technologies that could be dangerous. Supervised resource utilization. Nothing unusual." Susan frowned. "So you would tell us where we can go and what we can build?" "For your own protection, yes. Many young species destroy themselves without proper guidance." John caught Susan's eye across the table. Her expression matched his thoughts. "We would need time to consider this offer," John said. "Our world has many nations and leaders. Decisions like this require consensus." Zorthal's top set of eyes blinked slowly. "Of course. The Council is patient. I will remain in orbit and return in 1 of your months for your preliminary response." After the ambassador left, the room erupted in voices. "They want to control us," Susan said. "Did you see those restrictions? We'd essentially become their children." "Or their pets," John added quietly. General Hayes rubbed his face. "I'll brief the president immediately. Captain Miller, Dr. Grant, I want you both on the response team." As they left the building, John looked up at the stars just becoming visible in the evening sky. For years, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. "What do you think they really want?" Susan asked, standing beside him. John shook his head. "I don't know, but I don't think it's friendship." The alien ship rose silently into the darkening sky, leaving behind a world forever changed. Humanity had 1 month to decide how to respond to the Galactic Council, but Captain John Miller already felt certain of one thing: Earth would not easily surrender its freedom. 6 months passed since first contact. The world's nations argued about the Council's terms. Some wanted to join, seeing the benefits of alien technology. Others feared losing human independence. Captain John Miller sat in the large meeting room at the United Nations. Representatives from every major nation filled the seats. They had been talking for hours when the alarm sounded. Ambassador Zorthal's ship has returned, a voice announced over the speakers. They're requesting immediate landing clearance. The council chamber fell silent. They weren't scheduled to return for another 3 weeks. John looked at Dr. Susan Grant across the table. Her face showed the same worry he felt. "Grant them clearance," ordered General Hayes, who now led the First Contact Committee. An hour later, Ambassador Zorthal entered the chamber flanked by 2 new aliens. These ones wore what looked like armor. Their hands rested on devices at their sides that John guessed were weapons. "The Galactic Council has grown impatient," Zorthal announced without greeting. "You were given ample time to accept our generous offer." "We're still discussing," said President Clark, who had risen to speak. "This decision affects our entire planet. We need more time." Zorthal's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Perhaps I was unclear during our first meeting. Membership in the Council is not optional. It is mandatory." Gasps and angry murmurs filled the room. "Mandatory." John stood up. "You said you came in peace and friendship. And we did. We are saving you from yourselves. Already your primitive nuclear weapons threaten your survival. Your wasteful use of resources damages your biosphere. Without guidance, humanity will destroy itself within a century." Susan Grant stood too. "That's our business, not yours. Earth belongs to humans." Zorthal made that bell-like laughing sound again. "Primitive thinking. No world belongs to a single species. All worlds fall under Council jurisdiction." "That's not true," Susan argued. "You have no right." "We have already begun establishing an administrative outpost on Mars," Zorthal interrupted. "The facility will oversee the integration of your solar system into Council space." President Clark stepped forward. "You built on Mars without our permission. Permission is not required. Mars is uninhabited." General Hayes pushed through the crowd. "Ambassador, this is a violation of our sovereignty. Mars is part of our solar system." The 2 alien guards moved closer to Zorthal. Their posture reminded John of soldiers preparing for trouble. "Your concept of sovereignty is outdated," Zorthal said. "The Council determines boundaries, not individual species." Susan whispered to John, "They're already treating us like we're beneath them." John nodded slowly. The diplomatic mask had slipped, revealing the truth beneath. "I will be clear," Zorthal continued. "Earth is given 1 standard galactic cycle, approximately 3 of your months, to submit to Council authority. After that time, regulatory action will be taken against any resistance." "And what does regulatory action mean?" John asked. "Nothing harmful. Merely the enforcement of Council law. Temporary restrictions on travel, communications, and certain industries until compliance is achieved." President Clark looked around the room at the Earth's representatives. Their faces showed anger, fear, and determination. "We will need to discuss this new information," he said carefully. "Discuss if you wish," Zorthal replied. "But understand that the outcome is already determined. The Council has incorporated thousands of worlds into our system. Earth is nothing special." After the aliens left, the room exploded into angry voices. "They want to enslave us," someone shouted. "We need to prepare to defend ourselves," said another. John caught Susan's eye across the room. They moved to a quiet corner. "We need to see what they're building on Mars," Susan said. John nodded. "I'll talk to General Hayes. We need a team up there, quietly. And if they find us, then we'll know for sure if they came in peace or not." As the arguments continued around them, John looked out the window at the blue sky. 3 months to submit or face regulatory action. The Council thought humans would simply bow down when threatened. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The secret mission to Mars launched at night. Commander Alan Parker led a team of 6 people in a small, unmarked ship. They had painted it black to avoid detection. The regular Mars colony had been told to stay away from the area where the Council was building. "Approaching Mars orbit," said pilot Rick Daniels. "No signs they've spotted us yet." Alan nodded. Keep us on the dark side until we're ready to land. Security Officer Lisa Reeves checked her weapon. It wasn't much, just a standard-issue gun. They had no idea if it would work against aliens. Remember, Alan told his team, this is observation only. We see what they're doing and report back. No engagement unless absolutely necessary. The ship landed 3 miles from the alien construction site. The team put on their Mars suits and drove the rest of the way in a small rover. They stopped behind a ridge that gave them a view of the site. "My God," whispered Lisa, looking through binoculars. The council facility was massive. Dozens of structures spread across the Martian surface. Strange machines dug into the ground. In the center stood a tall tower with equipment pointing directly at Earth. "What is that?" asked Sam Boyd, their technology specialist. Alan adjusted his binoculars. "Looks like some kind of weapon platform." Sam set up a small device that began scanning the alien technology. They're installing planet-wide monitoring systems. And those dishes, they could be communication jammers. Or worse, Lisa added, they're positioning to control Earth. Alan made a decision. "We need a closer look. Sam, stay here and keep scanning. Everyone else, we're going in for a better view." They approached carefully, using the uneven Martian terrain for cover. They had almost reached the perimeter when Sam's voice came through their headsets. "Multiple heat signatures moving your way. They must have sensors we didn't detect." Before they could retreat, 3 alien vehicles surrounded them. Alien workers stared at the humans with what seemed like curiosity rather than alarm. A taller alien approached. "Humans are not permitted in this sector. This is a council operation zone." "This is Mars," Alan responded firmly. "It's part of our solar system." The alien tilted its head. "Incorrect. All celestial bodies fall under council jurisdiction," once claimed. The alien turned to its companions and made a series of clicking sounds. They seemed amused. "Your presence is noted but irrelevant," the alien continued. "You may observe if you wish. Your primitive understanding might benefit from seeing advanced engineering." Lisa stepped forward. "What are you building here?" "Those look like weapons aimed at Earth." "Regulatory equipment," the alien replied. "Standard installation for new member worlds." "To control us," Lisa said. The alien ignored her comment and returned to its work. The humans were being treated like curious animals who had wandered into a construction site, not worth concern, merely mild interest. Lisa moved toward one of the structures, taking pictures with her suit camera. An alarm suddenly sounded. "The female human is attempting to access restricted data," a mechanical voice announced. "Detained for processing." 2 security drones surrounded Lisa. A beam of light froze her in place. "Release her immediately," Alan demanded. "Interference with council operations is prohibited," the alien supervisor said flatly. "She will be held until properly processed and educated on council protocols." Alan looked at his team, then back at Lisa. Her eyes were wide with fear behind her helmet visor. They had come to observe, not to fight. But they also couldn't leave one of their own. He switched to the private team channel. "We're getting her out. Non-lethal force only unless they escalate." The humans drew their weapons. The first shots were fired not by choice, but by necessity. The Mars incident, as it would later be called, had begun. No one had expected the first battle between humans and the Galactic Council would happen on the Red Planet. But as Alan's team fought to rescue Lisa from alien captivity, one thing became clear. The Council had severely underestimated humanity's resolve. News of the Mars incident spread quickly. The team had returned with Lisa, but 2 soldiers were injured in the escape. More importantly, they'd brought back proof of the Council's true plans. 3 large Council ships now hovered above major cities. They announced travel restrictions for Earth's protection. No spacecraft could leave orbit without Council approval. They called it temporary security measures after the regrettable violence on Mars. John Miller, now promoted to admiral, sat in an underground bunker beneath Denver. Around him were 20 people. scientists, military leaders, and government officials who opposed surrender to the Council. "They're monitoring all standard communications," said Kevin Blackwell, a young engineer who specialized in signals. He had dark circles under his eyes from working 3 days straight. "But I found something interesting." He pointed to his computer screen. "Their systems use a frequency pattern we can decode. I can intercept their transmissions." "Can they detect that we're listening?" John asked. Kevin shook his head. "I don't think so. Their technology is advanced, but they're overconfident. They don't expect us to understand their systems so quickly." Natalie Freeman, an intelligence officer with short blonde hair, spoke next. "I've established contact with some aliens who don't agree with the Council's actions. Not all species support how we're being treated." "Which ones?" asked Susan Grant. "The Lyrians mainly. They're technologically advanced, but were forced to join the Council 300 years ago. They remember what it's like to lose freedom." John nodded. "Good work. What about our defense capabilities?" Susan stood and walked to a digital map. "We've been studying the technology from the Mars base. The Council's ships have energy shields, but they have weakness points." She highlighted several areas on the display. "Their weapons are powerful but slow to recharge." "Can we build anything to match them?" John asked. Susan smiled for the first time in weeks. "We're already doing it, using their own technology against them. In a secured facility 50 feet below them, the first human faster-than-light engine was being assembled. Engineers worked day and night, combining human ingenuity with reverse-engineered alien tech." "There's something else," Natalie said quietly. "The Council is planning to install compliance officers in all major governments within 2 weeks. They'll have authority to overrule any human laws." The room fell silent. Their deadline was approaching faster than expected. "We need more time," Susan said. John stood up. "Then we'll have to play along a little longer. I'll continue meeting with Zorthal. Make him believe we're close to accepting their terms." As the meeting ended, Kevin pulled John aside. "Admiral, there's one more thing." He lowered his voice. "I've decoded their star charts. Earth isn't the only world being forced into membership right now. There are at least 6 others. Can we contact them?" "Not yet. But if we can break free, maybe we could help them too." John nodded. The stakes were getting higher. Outside the bunker, life had changed dramatically. Alien observers walked city streets. Council ships performed regular flyovers. Public speeches against the Council were prohibited. People who protested too loudly disappeared for educational counseling. But beneath the surface, resistance grew stronger. In basements and backrooms, humans shared information and prepared. Soldiers trained with modified weapons designed to penetrate alien armor. Scientists worked to understand Council technology. Lisa Reeves, now recovered from her ordeal on Mars, trained volunteers in security tactics. "They think we're just going to roll over," she told her class. "They don't understand humans at all." In his private quarters, John looked at a photo of Earth taken from space before the Council arrived. So beautiful, so free. He made a silent promise to see it that way again. The Council thought imposing restrictions would make humans obedient. Instead, it only strengthened their resolve. The harder the aliens pushed, the more determined humans became to push back. And soon, very soon, they would be ready to show the Galactic Council exactly what freedom meant to the people of Earth. The day of action arrived faster than expected. Admiral John Miller gathered his commanders in the war room. The plan had a name now: Operation Liberty. "All teams report ready status," said Lisa Reeves, who had been promoted after Mars. John looked at the large screen showing positions of Council ships. "We only get one chance at this. If we fail, Earth becomes just another controlled world." Outside, Council representatives were gathering for a ceremony. Today was the official signing of Earth's membership agreement. Global leaders would publicly accept Council authority. At least, that's what the aliens expected. Captain Great Howard stood on the bridge of humanity's secret weapon, a ship called the U.S. Freedom. It was smaller than Council vessels but packed with surprises. Built in an underwater facility, it combined human design with modified alien technology. Engine status. Greg asked his crew. FTL drive at full power, reported his engineer. Lisa Reeves, serving as his second-in-command, monitored communications. All ground teams in position. Awaiting your signal, Admiral Miller. Greg checked the time. In 3 minutes, Operation Liberty would begin. At the Denver bunker, Kevin Blackwell placed his hand on a scanner. Communication override ready. Council networks accessed. John nodded. Send the signal. Kevin pressed a series of commands. Across the solar system, human teams received the go code. The council ceremony in New York was interrupted when all their communication devices suddenly played a single message in the alien language. The message, created by Natalie Freeman, with help from alien allies, announced, "Attention Council forces. Emergency recall to Homeworld. Immediate departure required." Confusion spread through alien ranks. As they checked their devices, a second message followed with false attack warnings at key Council bases throughout the solar system. In orbit, Council ships began receiving emergency signals from their ground forces. At the same moment, the U.S. Freedom emerged from hiding behind Earth's moon. All weapons systems online, Lisa reported to Greg. Target their communication relay first, Greg ordered. The Freedom fired its main weapon, a modified version of Council technology. The beam struck the largest alien ship's communication array, disabling it instantly. Across the solar system, human forces struck simultaneously. Teams attacked Council bases on Mars, Europa, and several orbital stations. Each target was chosen carefully. Communication hubs, weapon platforms, and command centers. The Council had never faced a coordinated attack like this. They had grown too confident, too sure of human compliance. In New York, Ambassador Zorthal stared in shock as human security forces surrounded him. "This is a mistake," he said. "The Council will respond with full force." "No, they won't," John Miller said, walking into the room. "Your ships are disabled. Your bases are under our control. Your communication network is broadcasting our messages, not yours." Zorthal's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "Impossible. Your technology is too primitive. You underestimated us," John said simply. "Humans adapt quickly." Near Mars, the U.S. Freedom engaged 3 Council ships. The alien vessels were larger but surprised by human tactics. Greg Howard had studied space combat theory for years, but had never fought a real battle until today. "They're trying to regroup," Lisa warned as the alien ships moved to surround them. "Activate jump drive," Greg ordered. The Freedom disappeared and reappeared behind the alien formation. No Council ship expected humans to have mastered faster-than-light jumps so quickly. "Fire main batteries," Greg commanded. The Council ships, designed to face enemies in front of them, couldn't respond in time. 2 were disabled immediately. The third managed to return fire, rocking the Freedom with a glancing hit. "Damage report," Greg asked. "Minor damage to outer hull," his engineer replied. "All systems functional." As the battle ended, Lisa received a message from Earth. Admiral Miller reports all primary targets secured. The Mars Administration Center is captured intact. Greg allowed himself a small smile. "Send word to all ships. Phase 1 complete." Across Earth, people watched their screens as news spread. Humans had not surrendered. Instead, they had shown the Galactic Council the first lesson about freedom. Those who truly value it will always fight for it. 2 weeks after Operation Liberty, Admiral John Miller prepared for his most important mission yet. Earth had won the battle. But now came the harder part, winning recognition. "Are you sure about this?" Susan Grant asked as they boarded the U.S. Freedom. "Going to the Council headquarters is risky." John nodded. "We need to speak to them directly. Show strength, not fear." The Freedom would carry Earth's delegation to the heart of Council space. Besides John and Susan, diplomat Paul Carter would lead negotiations. Paul was a calm, thoughtful man who had spent his career solving international disputes before aliens became part of the equation. "Our position is stronger than it seems," Paul reminded them as the ship prepared for departure. "We've captured their bases in our system. We've proven we can fight back. Many council members will reconsider how they treat us." The journey took 5 days using the faster-than-light drive. When they arrived, the council headquarters took their breath away. It was an enormous space station that looked like a silver flower with countless petals. Thousands of ships from different worlds docked along its edges. "They're letting us approach," reported Captain Great Howard from the command chair. "No weapons locked on us yet." "Let's hope it stays that way," John said quietly. When they docked, a group of 7 different alien species met them. None looked happy to see humans. "A High Council will see your delegation now," said the lead alien, a tall purple being with multiple eye stalks. "Follow me." The council chamber was a massive room with seats for hundreds of representatives. Most were filled. When the humans entered, the room fell silent. "Humans of Earth," announced a voice from the center platform. "You have violated council law. You have attacked council facilities. You have rejected the guidance offered to your developing world." John stepped forward. "We have defended our sovereignty. We have protected our system from uninvited occupation. We have rejected control disguised as guidance." Murmurs spread through the chamber, some angry, some curious. Paul Carter moved to John's side. "The people of Earth come seeking recognition as equals, not subjects. We wish to establish relations with the Galactic Council based on mutual respect." "Respect?" a council member shouted. "You are barely space capable. Without our technology, you would still be limited to your own planet. Yet we managed to defeat your forces in our system," Susan pointed out. "Perhaps you underestimated us." The council leaders conferred among themselves. Finally, the head counselor spoke again. "Earth is one world. The council represents thousands. You cannot hope to stand against us if we choose to enforce our authority." Paul remained calm. "We don't wish to stand against you. We wish to stand with you, as equals, not as subjects." As the debate continued, Susan noticed something strange. Several council members seemed interested in what the humans were saying. They weren't all united against Earth. During a break in the proceedings, a representative from a species called the Lyrians approached Susan privately. "Not all council members agree with how Earth was treated," the Lyrian whispered. "Some of us remember when our own worlds were forced to join. Some of us question the council's methods." The negotiations lasted 3 days. The council demanded Earth submit to at least some controls. Earth refused, insisting on full recognition of its sovereignty. On the final day, Paul made a bold move. He presented evidence that the council had suppressed numerous other species throughout history. The records had been found in the captured Mars facility. Earth is not the first world to be classified as primitive to justify control, Paul announced. How many council members were told different stories about their own histories? The chamber erupted in chaos. Younger council races demanded answers. Older members called for order. In their private chamber that night, John asked Paul, "Did we make things better or worse today?" Paul looked thoughtful. "We created cracks in their unity. That's a start." What they didn't know was how quickly those cracks would spread, not just through the council, but across the entire galaxy. News of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy. Many species watched with interest, some with hope. Kevin Blackwell and Natalie Freeman found themselves on a strange mission. After the council negotiations, Earth leaders realized something important. Humanity wasn't alone in wanting freedom. "The ship is ready," Admiral Miller told them before they left. "Your mission is to find allies, other worlds that want to break free from council control." Now they traveled on the Eagle, Earth's second faster-than-light ship. Their first stop was the Dravak homeworld. The Dravak were a proud species with tough, leathery skin and 4 arms. For centuries, the Council had guided their development. "Are you sure they'll meet with us?" Kevin asked as their ship approached the planet. Natalie nodded. "Our Lyrian contacts arranged it. The Dravak have wanted independence for generations. Their ship landed in a hidden valley away from Council monitors. 3 Dravak were waiting. Their leader, a female named Krenvos, approached cautiously. "So you are the humans who challenged the Council." "And won," she said in a rough voice. "We have heard stories." "Some stories are true," Natalie said. "We came to offer friendship and alliance." Krenvos studied them. "For centuries, the Council has taken our resources. They call it fair exchange, but they set the prices. They limit our technology, saying we are not ready for advancement." "They did the same to us," Kevin explained. "But we found weaknesses in their systems." "Show us," Krenvos said simply. Over the next week, Kevin taught Dravak engineers how to bypass Council communication controls. Natalie shared Earth's defense strategies with their military leaders. "Your methods are unexpected," one Dravak engineer told Kevin. "No wonder the Council failed to predict your actions." As they prepared to leave, Krenvos presented them with a formal agreement. "The Dravak stand with Earth. We will be the first to join your coalition." Their next stop was more risky, the Lyrian homeworld. The Lyrians had secretly helped Earth, but officially remained loyal to the Council. Their world was under heavy Council surveillance. The Eagle landed at night in a remote research facility. A tall, silver-skinned Lyrian named Zin-El greeted them. "You must be quick," he said. "Council patrols will detect your ship soon." Inside, 12 Lyrian scientists and government officials waited. Their leader, Minister Vrel, spoke first. "For 300 years, we have given our technology to the Council. They take our innovations and give us little in return. When we create weapons, they claim them for galactic security. When we create medicine, they control its distribution. Earth wants a different kind of alliance," Natalie explained. "Free exchange of ideas, mutual respect. Each world maintains its sovereignty." "Pretty words," said one skeptical Lyrian. "But can you protect us from Council retaliation? They have thousands of worlds." "Not all loyal," Kevin pointed out. "After our victory, we accessed their records. At least 400 worlds are classified as potentially problematic. They're already watching for signs of rebellion." "The Council is stretched thin," Natalie added. "That's why they use fear instead of force to control worlds. If enough of us stand together, they cannot stop us all." The Lyrians debated among themselves in their musical language. Finally, Minister Vrel stepped forward. "The Lyrians will join your coalition of free worlds. Secretly at first, then openly when we are stronger." By the time Kevin and Natalie returned to Earth, 5 species had joined the coalition. Admiral Miller received their report with satisfaction. "The Council has called an emergency session," he told them. "They're trying to decide how to respond to our rebellion." They never expected it to spread. On a view screen, they watched as Dravak ships openly challenged Council authority in their sector. Lyrian scientists publicly shared restricted technology with coalition members. Other worlds began asking questions, demanding the same freedoms Earth had claimed. "The Council threatened military action," Admiral Miller said, "but their forces are stretched across too many systems now." Kevin smiled as he looked at the growing coalition map. "We didn't just win our freedom. We started a revolution." What had begun as Earth's stand for independence was becoming something much larger, a fundamental challenge to the entire galactic order. 5 years passed since humans first met the Galactic Council. Everything had changed. Captain Gray Howard stood on the bridge of the Defiance, Earth's newest and largest ship. Through the view screen, he watched the planet Nivara rotate slowly below. Its blue-green surface reminded him of Earth. "Status report," he asked Lisa Reeves, now his first officer. "Council ships detected at the edge of the system," she replied. 3 cruisers. They're keeping their distance for now." Greg nodded. The Defiance was here to protect Nivara. The planet had recently joined the coalition of free worlds, breaking away from Council control. The Council had threatened to restore order. They won't attack, Greg said confidently. Not while we're here. And not with coalition ships arriving from 3 other systems. 5 years ago, humanity had been alone against the Council. Now the coalition included over 200 formerly controlled worlds. Each week, more planets declared their independence. On Earth, Admiral John Miller walked through the hallways of the new interspecies university. Students and teachers from 20 different species filled the classrooms and labs. In the main hall, Dr. Susan Grant was giving a lecture on shared biology across the galaxy. Knowledge belongs to everyone, she was saying, not just to those who claim authority to control it. John smiled. This was what they had fought for, not just freedom from control, but freedom to learn, to grow, to choose their own path. His communication device beeped. Paul Carter, now Earth's chief diplomat, appeared on the small screen. John, good news. The Council has agreed to our terms. They're sending representatives to discuss formal recognition of the coalition. Are you sure it's not a trick? John asked. Paul smiled. They don't have much choice. Nearly half their member worlds have either joined us or are negotiating to join. The Council has lost too much power to risk open conflict. Later that day, in Washington, D.C., world leaders gathered with representatives from coalition worlds. The meeting room was far different from that first contact 5 years ago. Now aliens and humans sat as equals. The Council delegation entered, led by a new ambassador. Zorthal had been replaced after the failure to control Earth. We come to offer peaceful relations between the Galactic Council and the coalition, the new ambassador said. The hesitation before saying coalition was slight but noticeable. Paul Carter stepped forward. We welcome peaceful relations, but we need to be clear about the terms. Each world in the coalition remains sovereign. No interference in internal affairs. Fair trade agreements beneficial to both sides. The Council has existed for 50,000 years, the ambassador said stiffly. Our way brings stability. Your way brings stagnation, Susan Grant countered. In 5 years, coalition worlds have made more technological and social progress than many Council worlds see in a century. Freedom drives innovation. On the planet Dravak, Kevin Blackwell watched the meeting through a video feed. Beside him, Krenvos nodded in approval. Your people have changed the galaxy, she said. Before humans, we accepted our place. We didn't dare to challenge the Council. We just showed you it was possible, Kevin said. You did the rest yourselves. Across coalition space, billions of beings watched as the Council formally recognized their independence. What had started as Earth's defiance had become a galactic revolution. As evening fell on Earth, Admiral Miller stood on the balcony of the new coalition headquarters in Geneva. Ships from a dozen worlds filled the sky above, not as invaders, but as allies and friends. Paul Carter joined him, raising a glass. To freedom, he said. John smiled, thinking of that first meeting with Zorthal, who had so casually dismissed humanity's desire for self-determination. Not just for humans, John replied, lifting his own glass, but for all sentient beings across the stars. In the great hall below, humans and aliens celebrated together. The Galactic Council had thought they could command Earth. Instead, humans had shown the galaxy the true meaning of freedom. And that lesson would never be forgotten.